富贵，镇压人民真火，今天胜利了。
为建设富强、民主、文明、和谐、美丽的社会主义现代化强国努力奋斗。
To the sound of thousands of voices singing the song Our Asia, the Asian Culture Carnival opened.
我宣布，亚洲文化嘉年华活动正式开始。
In May 2019, participants from 47 Asian countries and guests from 5 continents gathered in Beijing for the Conference on Dialogue of Asian Civilizations. The event's logo consisted of 6 intertwined petals representing the diversity of Asian civilizations and the dialogue among them.
"今日之中国，不仅是中国之中国，也是亚洲之中国，世界之中国。未来之中国，必将以更加开放的姿态拥抱世界，以更有活力的文明成就贡献世界。"
Its culture is the soul of a nation. When its culture is flourishing, the country is prospering. When its culture is dynamic, the nation is strong. The power of culture is a product of the vitality, creativity, and cohesion of people. Historically, China's unique and profound culture, nurtured through countless generations, has been a spiritual support for its people. Armed with this support, they have been able to overcome numerous difficulties and prosper. However, at one time confronted with the overwhelming military power of the West, their confidence faltered. Some people came to believe that not only were China's weapons and political system inferior, but also its culture. The rejuvenation of a nation must be founded on a strong material and spiritual basis. In adapting Marxism to their circumstances, the Chinese people made a number of major theoretical innovations. These served to enrich the ideological aspects of their civilization and create a modern culture capable of guiding contemporary development.
这是一个需要理论，而且一定能够产生理论的时代。这是一个需要思想，而且一定能够产生思想的时代。
The latest breakthrough in adapting Marxism to the Chinese context is Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. The text draws together the real-life experiences and knowledge of the party and the people. It serves as a guide on the march to the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. This is a book that has attracted worldwide interest. The Governance of China isn't just required reading for every party member in China. It's an international bestseller that has been translated into more than 20 languages and has been sold in more than 100 countries and regions. It's a window through which people can learn the secret to China's success. The success of socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era has boosted the confidence of the Chinese people and attracted worldwide attention. This confidence stems from, among other things, China's socialist culture, which is at the same time traditional, revolutionary, and modern. In essence, it's confidence in socialism with Chinese characteristics. Traditional culture is the root and the soul of the Chinese nation. It's the soil in which socialism with Chinese characteristics has grown.
让收藏在博物馆里的文物，陈列在广阔大地上的遗产，书写在古迹里的文字都活起来，让中华文明同世界各国人民创造的丰富多彩的文明一道，为人类提供正确的精神指引和强大的精神动力。
It was late autumn in Beijing, and an exhibition at the National Museum of China was highlighting the great changes China had undergone over the previous 40 years. One popular attraction was a small domed theatre. Here, a modern rendering was being shown of the famous painting Along the River at Qingming Festival. The innovative film used a single take to create a 3D image of Bianliang Wharf. A 1,000-year-old scene from the Song dynasty was brought vividly to life. Modern science had strengthened the appeal of a piece of traditional culture. Even after 600 years, the Forbidden City is still a hugely impressive building. It's the job of the Palace Museum to protect this famous part of the nation's heritage. It also sets out to display the depth of China's traditional culture on several levels. The hope is to give more people, especially the young, the chance to experience and fall in love with Chinese culture. To celebrate the 70th anniversary of the founding of the PRC, the Palace Museum created a special exhibition. It also marked the occasion with a series of popular cultural activities, interactive 3D displays, and collaborations with the creative and cultural sectors. It is only with reference to the past that the future can be shaped. Only by inheriting skills is it possible to innovate. Chinese New Year, Tomb Sweeping Festival, Dragon Boat Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival, Double Ninth Festival. Through traditional holidays, China shows off the brilliant spirit and deep roots of its culture. In the new era of socialism with Chinese characteristics, these occasions have been imbued with new levels of meaning. Their positive energy serves to develop Chinese culture and help it prosper. The bright light of traditional Chinese culture transcends time. The resilience of Chinese culture was forged with blood, fire, and pain. Its spirit is dyed red with the blood of countless martyrs. During the 28 years of revolution, the Communist Party led the people unflinchingly through a succession of bloody battles. In the course of this, a revolutionary culture was forged, represented by the Red Boat spirit, Jinggang Mountain spirit, Long March spirit, Yan'an spirit, and Shibai Po spirit. On September the 3rd, 2015, a military parade was held in Beijing, celebrating the 70th anniversary of victory in China's war to resist Japan and in the Second World War. It was a solemn occasion when China recalled its history, remembered its martyrs, celebrated peace, and looked to the future. A ceremony also took place at the Great Hall of the People to award Victory Memorial Medals. As a representative of the old soldiers, war hero Liu Zhenhua received a heavy, shining medal from Xi Jinping. Today, the unbreakable Chinese spirit forged by the revolutionary culture is encouraging the Chinese people to face challenges head-on and devote themselves to the great cause. For 32 years, Wang Jicai was the commander of the militia outpost on Kaishan Island in the Yellow Sea. Come rain or shine, every morning he and his wife, Wang Shihua, would carry the national flag up 208 steps and raise it. At twilight, standing with straightened backs, they'd salute the flag as they lowered it. In July 2018, Wang Jicai left Kaishan Island and the world forever. He had never regretted his sacrifice. At this ordinary outpost, he had lived an extraordinary life. When people have something to believe in, the country is powerful and the nation has hope. 12 core socialist values form the heart of China's value system. They create a spiritual bond between every Chinese person. They're the most important common factor uniting a diverse society. In Yumai village in Tibet, sisters Drolkar and Yangzom are guarding the territory of their motherland even as they drive their herds along its border. Walking across the bright snow-covered plains and through the luxuriant forests, they patrol the lonely mountain paths. In the new era, numerous people are striving to emulate the patriotic spirit of people like Wang Jicai, Drolkar, and Yangzom. So many people who are willing to play their part are the embodiment of the positive energy and fresh values of the era. The Chinese nation is striving continuously to scale new heights. In this endeavor, it is encouraged and enriched by a national spirit that has patriotism as its core, and by the spirit of the era, which has reform and innovation as its core. In the early days of the reform and opening up, the CPC put forward the strategic task of constructing a socialist spiritual civilization. It established an innovative new policy called grasping with both hands, and both hands must be firm. The tall buildings that sprang up signaled the rise of the Chinese national spirit. Following the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, education in socialism with Chinese characteristics and the Chinese dream was stepped up, as were moral construction and ideological and political work. Also, centers for the practice of new era civilization were established. This marked the start of an effort to nurture people who would assume responsibility for the great task of rejuvenating the nation. All over China, heroic efforts and acts of kindness were reported. National models of morality, most beautiful figures, role models of the era, exemplary people encouraged and inspired the whole nation to struggle untiringly towards their goals. In the early autumn of 2013 and again in 2018, the CPC Central Committee organized national conferences on publicity and ideological work. Xi Jinping called for China to adhere to, consolidate, and expand the mainstream ideology and public opinion, transmit positive energy, and mobilize the great strength of unity and progress throughout society. He stressed the importance of improving publicity and ideological work under the new circumstances, and insisted that China must consciously carry out the mission of holding the flag high, uniting people's hearts, educating young people, and invigorating and popularizing culture. The future of its culture is tied to the destiny of the country. Culture and the arts sound the advance of the era, display its features, and mold its climate. Over the past 20 years, the 5-1 project has focused attention on an increasing number of cultural works that tell the stories of ordinary people. The project has promoted a large number of ideologically profound, artistically exquisite, and expertly produced works. It has guided cultural workers towards creating enduring works, chronicling the great practice of the people and recording the era's progress. Art can help the imagination soar, but it must also remain firmly grounded in reality. In Inner Mongolia, Ulan-Mutir, or Red Bud troops, travel from village to village. The first Ulan-Mutir troop was established in 1957 in Sonid Right Banner. These teams brave the harsh weather on the grassland and desert to put on performances. With the sky as their backdrop and the earth as their stage, they bring happiness and a sense of cultural appreciation to the herders and farmers. They also convey the voice and concern of the party. Over the years, they have traveled 1.3 million kilometers, giving 360,000 performances to a total audience of 260 million. They have made a major cultural contribution, not only in Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, but in the whole of China. On the occasion of their 60th anniversary in 2017, 16 members of the Ulan-Mutir troop wrote to Xi Jinping to report on their experiences over the previous 6 decades. Before long, they received a reply. The letter read, "The enduring popularity of Ulan-Mutir tells us that the people need art, and art needs the people. I hope you can continue to create outstanding works that are relevant and are propagated and remembered, so that you can always be the red light cavalry of the arts." Two years later, on July the 15th, 2019, Xi Jinping met the Ulan-Mutir performers during a visit to Chefeng in Inner Mongolia. He was delighted to see them and once again praised their work. The Ulan-Mutir will never go out of fashion, he said, because they are relevant and loved by the people. Art that departs from the life of the people is rootless. It is only by exploring daily life, being rooted in the people, and sincerely, passionately, and carefully describing the great era that masterpieces can be created that celebrate the party, country, and people. And only then can the new epic of the Chinese nation be written. News workers must be grounded in the grassroots and not be afraid to get their hands dirty. In a mass campaign on the theme, 70 Magnificent Years, journalists on a new long march. 1,300 reporters undertook an epic journey. In the course of over 16,000 kilometers, tracing the steps of the Red Army, they interviewed thousands of local people. The campaign generated more than 10,000 articles that were viewed more than 2 billion times online.
那么这张照片背后呢，其实还有一个故事。
Thousands of publicity and ideology workers have honed their vision, brains, and writing skills to become better disseminators of the party's policies, diarists of the era, and promoters of social progress. Moving from newspapers and TV screens to digital and mobile platforms, a more influential and competitive new mainstream media is taking shape. Across the country, county-level integrated media centers are being established. These will open up the final kilometer of media integration and ensure that the voice of the CPC can reach further and deeper among ordinary people. High-quality cultural products give people a greater sense of gain and happiness. China produces more books and TV series than any other country and is the world's second biggest producer of movies. In 2018, China's box office receipts surpassed 60 billion yuan, a new record. Everywhere, the authorities are adhering to the principles of following the government's lead, participating in social activities, moving the center downwards, and working together and sharing. In every corner of China, a modern public culture service system has taken root and is now yielding fruit. To date, more than 3,000 libraries above county level and more than 4,000 museums have been built. Some 290,000 villages and 40,000 communities have established grassroots integrated culture service centers, providing people with a public cultural space on their doorstep. From countryside theaters to community reading spaces in the cities, from old people dancing in public squares to young people attending concerts, China is bursting with vitality. In many villages, the benefits to people are both material and spiritual. During festivals, they sing on their local stage, and whenever a family has something to celebrate, they sing their congratulations. Culture has the power to change people and refine their sense of morality. Like spring rain to a farmer, it brings hope. Zhedan County in Shaanxi Province in northwestern China is named after the martyr Liu Zhedan. Although the many ravines make it far from ideal for laying pitches, more than 5,000 young people here regularly play football. With 30% of the local population playing the sport, this is where a football dream was born. Hard work is essential in winning medals in sport. On the international stage, sport is a form of soft power. Sport is smiling faces and agile bodies. It's the spirit of proudly advancing. It reflects the progress of society and the prosperity and strength of the nation.
汤显祖和莎士比亚是同一个时代的，中英两国可以共同纪念这两位文学巨匠。以此推动两国人民交流，加强相互的理解。
Stratford-upon-Avon is the hometown of William Shakespeare. On April the 22nd, 2016, to mark the 400th anniversary of the death of both Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu, Stratford staged a performance of the latter's The Peony Pavilion. A few months later, and thousands of kilometers away, Chinese students performed Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream in Hangzhou. Culture is enriched by exchange and mutual learning. In this way, human civilization moves forward, and the flowers in its garden come into full bloom. Dunhuang, the pearl on the Silk Road. Here, Western and Eastern civilizations blended, creating the unique and charming Dunhuang culture. On August the 19th, 2019, Xi Jinping visited Gansu province. He inspected the work done to protect and research the cultural relics and promote culture at the Mogao Caves.
他到这个地方来，突出强调的一个是文化，我们一定要有文化自信。我们有5000年的文明，我们有底气啊。
The classic dance performance, Silk Road, was staged for the first time 40 years ago. Based on the theme of the longing for the East felt by the people who once lived here, it enhances the Silk Road story. In the new era, ancient Dunhuang is more resplendent than ever. As the saying goes, those who truly understand each other feel close even when far apart. So today, Chinese culture is becoming increasingly influential, and the world is seeing a real, multidimensional and comprehensive image of China. Chinese culture is moving on to the world stage with increasing speed and confidence. It is claiming its place in the garden of world culture as a beautiful vision of the Orient. Cultural confidence is a basic, wide-reaching and deep-seated part of a nation's identity, and a fundamental, profound and sustainable force for its development. After 70 years of struggle and 40 years of reform, China is entering the new era with a cultural confidence that is helping socialist culture to flourish. Chinese culture is attaining new heights.
Tangjin 世界 要说哪个政党、哪个国家、哪个民族能够自信的话，那中国共产党、中华人民共和国、中华民族是最有理由自信的。有了自信人生200年、会当水击3000里的勇气，我们就能够毫无畏惧面对一些困难和挑战。 就能坚定不移开辟新天地，创造新奇迹。
我是多么的幸运，降生在你的怀里，我的血